Peace, what's going on, fam? Talk to you about trauma. You know what I'm saying? And understanding the science behind what trauma really is and how that affects our community and how we've been affected by trauma ever since we've been here. Implanted trauma, you understand? So when we think about trauma, we know and understand that trauma comes from a very deeply depressing or disturbing event or circumstances, very tragic, something that causes the person's human organism to be shaped in a very detrimental way because of a particular event or a circumstance. When that trauma goes untouched or unworked or unchallenged, it turns into a physical trauma. The physical trauma is put on a person. If that trauma is not dealt with, if it's absorbed and it's not dealt with, and that person doesn't have a way to break that cycle or understand what has happened to them, they absorb the trauma and they become a product of the trauma themselves. And the cycle continues, and the cycle continues. And this is what I'm talking about with trauma, because what happens in our communities is we're under tons of trauma. And the trauma really stems from, the institution of slavery. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when we think about molestation under the Afrika Bambaataa situation that has actually been happening in our community for decades upon decades, this is nothing new what Afrika Bambaataa is doing. And many of us know it's nothing new. You understand? Many of us know pedophiles in our community, but we kind of laugh it off. You know what I'm saying? We call them weirdos or we know something wrong with this person, but we kind of just let it ride and let it slide by because we don't want to have any type of affiliations with these types due to our own upbringings and our own taboos. I mean, most of us come from Southern backgrounds, Southern Baptist backgrounds, the church and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with issues like molestation and the trauma behind it, of course, there's the shame and the guilt that manifests itself. And a person doesn't want to, come forward, don't know how, because you're a child and you trust an adult and it's an adult who's actually, victimizing you. You don't know how to take that. And if the adult who's victimizing you is taking the information, and using suggestion to you and bringing certain information to you where you are looking at this as something normal because the predator is telling you it's normal, this is how abnormal becomes normal. And this is how the cycle continues. Now, my thing is this, I've told you in many videos, abuse is abuse. Be careful who you let in, as well as other videos that we have predators in our community. You know what I'm saying? It's our job to get rid of those predators, to make our children safe as well as ourselves safe. But the thing is that we seem to adore and love predators. You know what I mean? And we are hypocrites. I'm going to say it again. You know what I mean? How can someone rape children and you allow it to occur and you continue to let it happen? These are the things that happen in our communities. It is the same thing that's happening with Bambaataa. The same reason why people let it go, because maybe those people are actually doing the same thing you're doing, or maybe those people are around you because of the reputation that you can bring to them, or the fame that they may be able to get from you, or the rep they can get off of your name from hanging with you. So they benefit from not telling. You understand what I'm saying? And it's the same thing in our community. When we have these types of situations occurring with this type of trauma that's happening, you know what I'm saying? It's our job to clean this up. Because before we can get right and help any other nation of people, we have to clean ourselves up. We have to do it in such a way that it's going to be understood where we stand through our action. Not with the words we say, but the things that we do will make it understood. You see what I'm saying? So when we're looking at molestation and we're looking at pedophiles, you got to understand that that's a manifestation of a system of slavery passed down. I mean, we were traumatically induced into these particular paradigms through the institution of slavery. I mean, the slave master was not only raping the slave women, the prisoners of war, but he was also raping the brothers. You understand what I'm saying? And when the trauma goes untouched, when the trauma is not fixed, the trauma continues. This is how it's usurped its way into our own community, because we've picked up the characteristics and the traits of the authors of white supremacy. We enact those traits and live in those traits and character better than the authors themselves. You understand what I'm saying? So it is our job to stop being hypocrites and to protect our children from all types of predators. Predators don't only exist in pedophilia. These are predators who are economic predators. There's also predators who are mental and spiritual predators. You know what I mean? So we got predators running all through our community because we've been indoctrinated to examine ourselves and look at ourselves as nothing. You understand what I'm saying? We're nothing. to each other, which is why we do and act out the most brutal things on each other, because we're nothing. And then when it's time to come together and to fight against a system that has got you in this particular mindset and in this particular action, then you want to run off and do something else and hide behind a corner or hide behind a wall or take pictures when your sisters is getting beat up and film and so on and so forth, when you're a man, when you should be putting your hands on who's ever abusing that child or that woman. You see what I'm saying? Because we let these things go, we are indicting ourselves to our hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? You can't allow a foreigner to come in and do certain things, and then you want to march and fight and blah, blah, blah. And then when we do it to ourselves, nobody's saying nothing. You understand what I'm saying? It's time to stop that, man. Because what you're doing, it snitches. I'm not a snitch. I'm not a snitch. What you're doing is you allowing your community to be destroyed by something that you totally are against. But you don't say nothing because it doesn't benefit you to say anything. You can't get nothing from it, so you keep quiet. You understand what I'm saying? But when it hits your door, then you got a problem. But then you still keep it quiet because the way it's been taboo. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that we as quote unquote so-called black people won't discuss in our communities, but we need to discuss. You understand? I've been discussing these things for years about predators. You know what I mean? I never went into the details of what predatory behavior is, but now that Bambaataa has been exposed and other people are being exposed, and we already know that these things are going on in our community already, what do we say? It's no shock. Nobody is really shocked about Bambaataa. They may be acting shocked, but everybody knows somebody who's been molested. I mean, 70% of black women, so-called black women, have been molested or raped, and that rate is high for brothers also. And this is what we need to be discussing. And how do we handle these things so that they won't happen? You understand what I'm saying? We cannot let pedophilia become a sexual alternative like they're trying to do. Told you years ago that because of gay marriage, bestiality, incest, and pedophilia will become a norm. But we can't allow that in our communities. You understand what I'm saying? Pedophilia, molesters, you destroy the souls of children. You destroy the innocence of children, man. And those children, some of them never get the opportunity to face you back. You know, the victim never gets a chance to face the predator. And they find out if the victim does, if we do get a chance to face you, which many of us have, we realize and find out that you're a big kid. You're a big scared child yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And you preyed on weak children because you not strong either. And now that these weak children are strong enough to stand up and come at you and discuss this issue with you, you become a coward and you say, no, it didn't happen, or no, I didn't do it. But we all know. So some of us get the opportunity to face our predators and some of us don't. But the reality is that you have to build up a reserve to face somebody who has harmed you in that type of psychological manner, that type of psychological trauma and physical trauma put on you as a child. You understand what I'm saying? Many of us have been lucky to beat that, to have circles and people who could actually help and aid you, you know what I'm saying, who went back and got those people for you or whatever. I was fortunate enough to have family members who almost killed this cat. And when I was older, I went back and almost killed this cat. I was able to redeem myself and take my power back. That's what this is all about. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be careful of the predators because they're all in our community, man. And you got to get rid of them. It's our job to get rid of them. It's our job to protect our children and our women. It's our job. And if you're not doing your job, then something is wrong with you, man. Something is wrong with you. If you want kids to continue to go through this type of trauma and these types of things in our community, continue to go through this cycle of trauma, you got to remember, man, when trauma goes undealt with, it continues in a big major way in a cycle. And many of us might not even understand that we have been traumatized because now that it is so normal. It seems to be so normal. So on that note, let's get right, man. Let's get our community right, man. Let's clean up, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Let's get rid of these predators that come in all forms in our community. Before we can nation build, we got to get rid of all of the elements in our community, every single one of them. And then we can start adding on. Peace.